Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Black Women Photographers Summit. I'm Polly Ringo. I'm the founder of Black Women Photographers, and this summit is made possible by Adobe Lightroom. I am just so excited to round out this speaking portion of this summit. We've had incredible day one and incredible day two, and we're ending this day two with just two fantastic storytellers who are just truly, truly remarkable. And we were yapping right before this, and I'm so excited. Like, you guys are in for a treat. Again, we are here with Diana and Bo, who are filmmakers, photographers, and also collaborators on their upcoming documentary, Girlhood to Womanhood, produced with the support of Black women photographers and Nikon. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you for
Thank you
having
for
us.
having us.
I'm just so excited. Before we dive in, how are you both arriving like in this space today? How are you guys feeling? How are you doing?
I'm nervous a little bit. I feel like when you're speaking to a group of people, you all of a sudden are thinking, okay, am I gonna say a word right? Am I gonna trip on my word? Am I gonna say the thought that I'm thinking? But I've watched a couple of the people who've been here, and everyone's just so talented in the space that you've created makes me feel safe to like share stuff and to open up. And I can't wait to hear what Bo and I talk about as well.
Mhm. I am arriving, I think, very nervous as well, but very thankful because, like she just said, the lineup has been amazing. And so just to be able to figure amongst those very talented women, I am very, very thankful. Yeah.
I mean, first, thank you guys again for, doing something that may feel a little scary, a little intimidating if it's your first speaking time, speaking opportunity, but like on this level. But I think that's why, this space is so beautiful. And, Diana, when you said it makes you feel safe to share, like that makes my heart sing. That's truly just like, what I hope to curate in these spaces. Because when you guys are comfortable to share, when you're being authentic and just, true to yourselves, your story, it really just resonates with so many. You don't know how many people you're inspiring, including myself. Truly, I mean, that's why selfishly, I host these summits also because I want to hear from people that I'm just inspired by and get to know their why, get to know their stories in ways that a social media platform, Instagram, that you can't see, you can't understand, you really can't truly grasp the whole person's experience. I mean, you just see the final product, but you don't see everything that led up to that journey, right? And you two are just like two extraordinary, storytellers who I feel like are redefining what it means to be seen, to feel, to witness through the lens, especially through filmmaking. And so let's take it to the beginning. For you both, like, what first drew you guys, each respectively to storytelling? Was there a moment that you realized that the camera was your language?
Hmm.
Who wants
You can go
I was looking at you to go first too. Um, I think it's not, well, I knew for me, the moment I was like, well, storytelling is really powerful. I grew up in Kenya, and when we were young, telenovelas were a big thing. That's something that after moving around, people don't really realize. Like in Kenya, like Mexican telenovelas, Colombian telenovelas, they were a thing. At like 6 p.m., you come out of school, you run, and then you're all watching, like, what's the next episode saying? And the beautiful part of that was after watching it the next day in the morning during break time, you would talk to your friends about it. And so this idea of like breaking down episodes and breaking down like shows and breaking down characters in such a collective way with like kids together, I hold that memory so close to me because I, one, realized not a lot of people have had that. And two, like we had no business watching telenovelas, to be honest, at our age too. Um, but I don't know, that collective storytelling and coming together and watching people and watching characters make mistakes, break up, come together, like going from, a small village to the city, like that arc, I fell in love with it. And to do it with groups of people, that was like my beginning of what storytelling is and how powerful that could be.
Hmm.
Oh, that's beautiful. Bo, how about you?
For me, I think I came into storytelling because I always loved reading. Like I love words, I love conversations. Um, and I always felt very thankful for the way that, like, reading, you can create your own world and you see your own colors and you get to um, create the whole characters in your own mind. So I've always loved storytelling for that. So I think that I came behind the camera because mostly because my dad is a photographer. He used to be a photographer back in Haiti. And so we always had a camera close to us, and every moment was an event to be pictured. So just seeing how he navigated that too also added to it and made me want to take my own photos and tell my own stories and the things that I imagine.
I mean, that is just truly, truly so beautiful. And, both of you guys, like you mentioned, you both have such global footprints. Diana from Kenya to Mexico, Bo from Canada to Haiti to Mexico. How has living, between cultures and languages shaped your artistic eye and voice?
Mm. I think that for me, it has expanded it. The reason why I even tell stories is because I'm very curious, and that curiosity allows me to relate to people, to understand what world they are coming from, to meet me. And so I think that yeah, so just like being able to um keep building like that really helps me. So coming from different backgrounds, I think I'm able to understand different languages. I speak four languages. I'm Haitian, born in Canada, so I've seen really a lot of different realities of different people, and it just makes me curious about how many can exist and how to tell them and how do we all relate to each other throughout all these like translation and mixes of cultures. And so just like trying to find ways where we all meet in the center. So I think really having a global footprint has allowed me to understand more, even as we were in Mexico, learning, like seeing a completely different culture. Um, yeah, so that would be my answer.
And you, Diana?
Um, so I grew up in Kenya until I was like 16, 17. Then I moved to Europe. I studied there in Switzerland for about 2.5, 3 years. Then I went to the States and it was like an introduction of a whole different world. And I've traveled around and now I'm in Mexico. Um, I think even with all the different cultures that I have encountered, like we all are very similar. Like we all will cry about the same things. We will laugh about the same things. We will feel scared about the same things. And I was just, it's so intriguing that despite the different languages and the different structures of storytelling within different cultures, like we're all similar. We're all like one at the risk of sounding very cliche, but legit, like you can tell a story of someone and someone will leave the theater crying regardless of the language. And it's so intriguing to me that how come we're all so different yet so similar. So I've been searching for that. And even in the stories that I tell, very human, very like mundane stories of like everyday life because we're all drinking coffee just in different types and shapes of forms from different
Mhm.
parts of the world. And curiosity, as Bo has said. I feel like when you meet someone from a different culture, like there's so many things to learn about them, how they grew up, what are their traditions at home. Like those are such cool stories that you can only learn if you meet someone from a different culture or country or language from you. Yeah.
And
I
it's so,
think,
oh, sorry, go ahead, Bo.
no, I was just gonna add, I think realizing that there is no norm
Mm.
either, like that's amazing. What is normal to me, what I grew up with and stuff, is completely different than what is normal to Diana, what is
Mhm.
normal to you. So I think that feeds a lot of the stories that I tell.
And I was gonna say that it's so funny because I see the idea of home, reflecting above your guys' work often. Um, but how do like, is that, like for you guys, what does that mean to you? Like, is it a place, a feeling, or something else entirely, especially as people who've moved and lived in different cultures?
Mm.
Oh, I think I'm still figuring it out, to be honest. Like that's the one thing I'm still like, where exactly is home? Like as a person, home is where my family is, and I've realized like if they say tomorrow home is Japan and they're there, I'm gonna go because that's where my family is. But I think as a filmmaker, home is I thought about this question, and I think to me, home is where my ideas are coming alive. Maybe they're growing, maybe they're being nurtured, maybe they're being ch challenged. So if I'm with Bo in a studio and we're making a documentary, at that time that's home because my ideas are being nurtured. If I'm in the cinema, I like going to the movies by myself and just like watching what the filmmaker has created, the world. In those 2 hours, for me, when my ideas are being challenged or like when I'm noticing something new about the world, like to me as a filmmaker and as a creative, that is home.
Mhm.
I think that is just so beautiful, and I'm pulling up your work now, Diana, because like you mentioned, you have this way of capturing the beauty of the mundane, just the everyday, without losing that narrative energy. And you know, you've mentioned like you described your work as being grounded in the slice of life realism. Tell me more about that. Like, how do you capture that beauty in just the everyday things, the mundane, without losing that narrative energy? And what are the things that are like inspiring and fueling your work?
Yeah, that's a good question. Okay, my mind is going to different places. I think one, I love the mundane because as Black women and as a creative Black woman, I always want to create something that reflects who I am and what I have not seen in a long time, like in front of me. And I feel like, okay, we can do all these big things, but let's start with the small things, like when someone is oiling someone's hair. Like that's the language that we as Black women we speak. Other people may not be able to understand that, but can because they don't necessarily understand that. Maybe they don't feature it a lot in their media. So I, as a filmmaker, I want to be able to showcase that. I want to be able to feature like two Black girls. I'm just like oil each other's hair, and it's mundane, but also in that there is a story to be told. Like when you look inside of it, are they like what are they talking about? What are their hairstyles that could tell you about who they are? I feel like there is beauty and story already in everyday life, and all you have to do is just like take your camera and frame it or like uncover a perspective because there's just so many things that are screaming at us to be told that haven't been told yet, and you only will be able to tell it if you stop and noticed. So to me, noticing and then like uncovering a perspective or finding a way to like show people and let the people in that story is something I like to do when it comes to like balancing the narrative and the mundane.
Mm.
I think that is just so powerful. And you know, I'm gonna actually go to the Tinder rituals one. I'm gonna click on it. Um, and tell me more about like how you brought this like to life from just idea to concept. Because I mean, as you can see, I get my hair done. Braids, like it's something that I've been doing like for all I could remember. My mom, like I remember growing up in, you know, I'm from Kenya too, but I grew up in Kansas, and I just remember as soon as I could get my hair braided, my mom dropped me off there, and I was in this lady salon all day, and she would have movies playing for us, and she was so patient with me because I'm very tender-headed. And this is just a core memory of mine. Just I remember this, and obviously I'm still doing this to this day, getting my hair done, spending hours, you know, each month getting it done. But like, yeah, just walk us through this.
So the tender rituals, which Bo features as part of, shout
I
out
was
to
gonna say,
Bo.
I see you right there.
Everyone was like, we should do this because we were talking a lot about hair and how I call it Black women literacy practice. This idea of
Mm,
like we have our own things that we do in our community. Um, and I have a really interesting story with hair, like coming from like boarding school where we were permed,
mm,
like our hairs were permed a lot, to like
mm.
then going into like Europe and figuring out how to take care of my hair by myself as like one of the few Black women there. So it's been like a journey that I'm learning, and then to now. So I think we were just talking about like the ways we've learned to take up space differently with our hairs, which also we started talking about beauty and how it's different when you have different hairstyles and what that feels like and the struggle of like hair care. And
Listen.
I realized we've not had a com I've not well, I haven't seen yet just a space where people are just having a kind of conversation. And I put a
Yeah.
camera somewhere and I was like, okay, let's record this. I'll oil your hair and we'll talk about hair. And we just talked about so many things with regards to hair, some vulnerable. But I don't know. I feel like when you have space like this where you can see yourself and you can see like things you do on a daily, it pulls you into, okay, what are they talking about? Can I see myself here? And feeling seen and heard is one of the greatest things that people want in life, in the media that you're consuming, you know, and being able to create something like that for us Black women, by us Black women is, I think it's part of my like goals as a filmmaker and a creator.
And tell me, I completely agree. I think that's just truly beautiful. But tell me about like, some of the process here, like, having this candid conversation. What was like your thought process into making it black and white? Because I just feel like if making it black and white feels so timeless. Like this could be at any point, right? At any time, I could see this happening. I don't know what year it is. I just love that. And even just the way, the captioning, and tell me more about your process.
I think I when I talk about the mundane, it could be easy to I like challenging people with like time and silence. I think we're so used to like TikTok. I'm talking about myself too. Like we want to scroll. Like if you don't get to the point in 0.1 seconds, you're out. You know? But I if you come in and you stay, I remember even for the edits, there wasn't as much music. It was just me and Bo talking. And you could hear like the road, like it was in my apartment, you could hear the cars passing. It was very like very realistic. Like this is something that could be happening in someone's home. Um, and I think the beauty of just having a raw, unedited conversation of two women talking is it's like you're eavesdropping, but we're giving you the permission to. But I also feel like you only if you care would you stay. So it's black and white too, because it's not about the flashy colors. It's about the what's happening here. It's about the practice. It's about two women just having this kind of conversation. So I think part of it too is inviting people who need to be invited. And also, I guess if it's not for you, you're not gonna like identify with it. You're not gonna want to stay because maybe one, you don't do the practice, you don't like this is not what you do, but also two, it's not for you. And I don't think I make work for everybody. I feel like I, as a filmmaker, I'm very selective, like who's this for? Who do I want to see this? And to me, it's always been like the Black women, the Black community, people who identify with what I'm saying. So yeah, thanks for pulling it up.
Absolutely. I thank you for sharing your process and insight because I think it's just so, so beautiful. And I mean, others here are agreeing. I think Kendra says, I love the idea that there's magic in the mundane, making images of everyday life, making space for us to and live in that mundane moment with our own meaning. And Marcel says, as an aspiring filmmaker, this is so amazing to see. I mean, truly. It is so beautiful. And I another follow-up question to that is like, how do you know when you're done, right? Like when it's ready to be put out there.
How do I know when I'm done? Honestly, it's a mixture of a friend being like, you have to put it out. Like, this is it. You can't. Plus, a mixture of a motivational video that I've watched of someone saying, you should put your work out. But the one thing that I always remember, and a friend told me this, is promoting your work. If you cut it down, it's like promotion. Like, you are making your work have motion. Like if it's a car, you're like starting the engine so that your work can like go. So it's not, I know it can be cringy to like press, like publish on something that you've put out, but when you really think about it, you're just like pushing it so it can start having motion. That's what promoting and like publishing your work is. But I still struggle with it. There's still stuff that I shot like in the beginning of the year. And I know Bo's looking at me too with this, but this stuff I shot in the beginning of the year that I have not yet put out. So I should take this advice as I say it. But people need to see your work. Um,
Yes.
it could be someone could just be waiting for that one word you say. However mundane it looks. Yeah.
That is such a beautiful reminder. And for you, Bo, your work is just equally just, gorgeous. It makes me stop and really just think. I feel like you have a way, your storytelling is, very deeply intimate and poetic. And I want to ask you, how do you access emotional truth through the stillness and light? And I'm going to pull up your work right now for people can see this gorgeous work.
Mm-hmm. How do I pull it out from stillness and light?
Because I
I
see so
think
much light and color and the way you use it in your work.
Thank you so much. I think that for me, it's about really, first of all, before even taking out the camera, it's always about like trying to build a relationship with the person and trying to understand them when I'm taking portrait sessions, for example. So it's really about taking the time to connect with them first and foremost and having conversation with them before even taking out the camera, and then really allowing them to be vulnerable because it is very intimidating being in front of a camera. So just acknowledging that and really focus on documenting their presence and whatever emotions they are coming in with.
And I mean, look at this right here. This moment's from this the birth of this
Mhm.
pregnancy. This woman's going through like
Mhm.
take me to this moment, like how you approach this with such sensitivity and care for something that's
Mhm.
obviously deeply personal.
Um, for this one, I've actually been doing another one. I'm working on a birth photography right now contract, but this one is personal first and foremost because it is my niece. It is my sister having her baby, and I felt so thankful that she even asked me to document her birth. And so it was really about, like, I think birth photography is about the mother, like being able to. Let me start again. I think for me, it's because I hold this power very sacredly of being behind the camera and being able to document somebody's life. Like, really, we are here, like we are here, we are going through these transitions as we're living. And so just really trying to honor that moment. And so it was a lot, it was really seeing somebody going through the pain and the tears, but also the joy, honor those moments. I think that when I photograph, I am not trying to create something, kind of like Diana was saying about the magic in the mundane. Really, for me, it's about that, like documenting. And the same way that Gordon Parks says that camera, that's his weapon of choice. I feel the same way, like I am a Black woman behind a camera, a tool that was used so many times against us. And this is a tool that was used to document war zones, like this is why the language behind it is so violent. Like we should just realizing the importance that I have, like being me behind the camera, me, a Black woman who is aware of all of these things and who truly cares about representing well the people that I capture and showing their strength and their beauty, even in their vulnerability. So, this is really my goal, I would say.
And you guys both do such a good job, like that showing that quiet strength in the way you both center Black women, Black womanhood. Um, how do you just like navigate that responsibility and joy of telling these stories, our stories, with such care? And that's for
How
either
to,
of you.
uh-huh. How to navigate it with such care. I think the fact that we actually really do care, like I think that we are proud to be in the skin that we are, to be who we are. We are so proud of our cultures and of our heritage. So I think that it comes from that first and foremost, and just genuinely caring about even people being willing to share their stories with us. Um, yeah.
Diana, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, I feel like I've grown up, or the ways that the media
Mm,
I've consumed over time has been Insecure and Girlfriends, and all of this. You see like
yeah,
four Black women in a TV show. TV shows are like I watch a lot of TV shows because I want to have one and create one day.
yeah.
And the way I felt watching them, I felt seen, I felt heard. I felt that if I ever was going through something in my life, maybe a breakup, maybe I lost a job, maybe I need to figure myself out. Like I could always like go to like Girlfriends or Insecure and like watch an episode of
Mm,
like one of the characters going through something. So now with my work, I hope that people can feel seen and heard, and like whenever they're going through something they can come to that, maybe for comfort, or maybe to just feel like, oh yeah, I'm going through that. And I feel like because that's my goal, i I the care in itself comes in, because I'm wanting to nurture you at times when you're not feeling your best, but also when you want to like see yourself, because that's how I consume media. I feel like that's also how the work that I create, that's how I hope it's perceived, and also how it comes off from like from me.
I
Mm.
it is. I That's how I perceive it.
Thank
Um,
you.
and, you both work across various creative roles: director, DP, editor, photographer, art director. How do you guys protect your artistic vision while navigating multiple hats?
I think it we well, I protect it by reminding myself that it's about the vision, the final result, more than the how to. Like the how to is great, but I think that it allows me also to understand different roles are important to make an idea come to life. For example, as we were working on our documentary, yeah, we were wearing a lot of hats. Was also that we were able to confide to really trust like very talented people that we had the honor of working with. But yeah, so I think just really believing in the idea, believing in the concept, and also understanding that, okay, for this part to exist, this one also needs to be taken care of. So I actually enjoyed wearing multiple hats and being so involved in the creation of our project, whether it's from the producer aspect to the directing to the photography. So yeah, I quite enjoy it because I think it allows me to create something more fuller.
Mm. And Diane, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think she's hit the nail on the head. The being able to, I think the goal, like always asking yourself, this is something I had to learn, and I would always write down
Mm,
whenever we have a meeting, what is the goal? Like what exactly are we trying to share with this thing we're working on? Because there's once you are creatives in a room, the ideas are endless. Y'all could like stay there for the
yeah.
entire time. But I think, yeah, asking yourself, like, what is the goal? What are we trying to achieve? And always having that as the first thing, that's the priority. Everything else kind of like takes itself off, or you figure out how to prioritize different tasks, um, if you have the goal set, for sure.
Mhm.
And of course, I'm going to ask you guys about this project. And that's what I pulled up here to the screen for folks to see. The project Girlhood to Womanhood. I'm just so excited for this. Talk to me about this project. First, my first question to you all is, how did you two even first connect? What drew you to each other as creative partners? Because I think it's, something that is finding somebody who matches that, like that synergy, that creative, like I think that's hard. I mean, tell me about that.
Do I take this one? Do you want to take this one, Bo?
So, yeah, Diana and I met through a creative blind date of sorts. So in Mexico, when I first got there, I was, it was very different for me because it was my first time living out of Montreal in Canada. So I had met a few people, but I wasn't going out too much. So I met this one friend who was also a photographer and everything. And we kind of, I explained to him that, I don't know if I'm really feeling, should I really stay here in Mexico, or maybe it's time for me to go back. And I had a few unfortunate events that happened to me that I was like, ah, maybe it's my time to go. And my friend was like, okay, okay, but hold that thought. I have somebody who I want you to meet. She does YouTube videos and she's a filmmaker and she has a great like color grading style and everything. But I really think her style looks like yours, so you should meet her. And so I was like, oh, like I don't know, I might be about to leave. I'm feeling anxious, and he was like, just meet her, just meet her. So we messaged, and then, yeah, we had a beautiful conversation about just being women in a completely different country, and then actually encouraged me to like see Mexico through and stay a bit longer as she's been a traveler and nomad for way longer than me and more experienced. And she brought a lot of perspective to me about even doing that and being in another country chasing our purpose with arts. And so yeah, that's how we first met. And we just
I love that. I
yeah.
want to create a blind date. Somebody set me up one. I think
Right?
that's so beautiful. Oh my gosh, and
Yeah.
wholesome. I love that. Um, Tell me about the origin story of this documentary, Girlhood to Womanhood.
Yeah.
Where did the first spark come from? And what conversations were you two having that made you realize that this was the story you wanted to tell together?
Mm.
Mm. We went from, so after the blind date, we became like really good friends. Then we became neighbors, like next door neighbors. Like, hey, can I grab something? Like we were
It was
super close.
unintentional or just by chance?
I think chance made it into, I don't, intentional chance, like things led one
Okay.
to another, and then I was like, hey, by the way, there's an open spot, and then we became um neighbors, and it was really cool. So we would have conversations in the morning. If she's like passing by, I'm like, hey, hello, like what's up? But this specific one came about last year. We'd already started having conversations on girlhood and like feeling the pressures of growing up and being a woman. And then we one time I like to post on threads. I like to learn other people's opinions. I'm very much pro collective education, like bring people together to talk about stuff. So we posted on threads and it was actually this question, when did you start feeling like a girl and started feeling like a woman? And so many women, we had like 400, 500 plus like responses and likes, and people were just asking, like responding, like people had different responses to it. Some felt like they had never stopped feeling like girls and they were 70 years old. And other people were like, I started feeling like a woman when I got my period or when I gave birth. There's just so many different aspects that made women hit. And at the time, I admit, I was feeling like, oh, well, I'm closer to 30. I should have my life together. What is this? Like, how do other women feel about this? Um, and then we talked again with Bo, like we would tell each other, if we had money, we would do this, we would do this, we would do this. And then when this grant came up, I remember we texted each other and we're like, should we do this? And we're like,
Mm.
yeah, let's apply. But I think this story is so personal to us. We don't normally see spaces where us women can just think about our transitions from like girlhood to adolescence to womanhood. For a lot of different cultures, it's also really different. And so part of the things that we wanted to do with this project is just bring women together from different cultures and languages to talk about when they felt they started feeling like they were women, and what does feeling like a woman mean? What does feeling like a girl mean? Um, is like, what are the different things society has taught us about being women and being girls? How do we agree with those? Do we claim those? Are there things we want to unlearn? And doing it collectively and also working together, me bringing, experience in filmmaking, and Bo, she's very strong. I have told her a lot. She did all of our interviews and our questions, and the way that she would be able to like see the women and ask them like specific questions that would like trigger different responses, and made the women feel safe. We ultimately wanted to create a space that's safe, that people can come together and talk about like what womanhood feels like, because there's so many parts about us that people have yet to frame on camera. They exist because we're living through them, but we don't see them on the media. So this is one of those projects that hopefully will like shed some light on what it means to be a
Mhm.
woman or a girl or both, you know.
I think it also came from at the same time as an intersection as Diana was working on the Black women literacies, so the one with our hair and stuff, and so it just opened up so much more conversation. So I think really conversation and being able to relate and trying to figure things out together also as friends, I think has allowed us to create something bigger and very approach this as a collaboration of also care, like really trying to understand the different layers that it means to be a girl and a woman and to go through these transitions.
And that's a good point. I'm glad you're bringing up collaboration because one of the things I want to know is like, what was it like to, co-direct, co-produce, to share this vision together, leadership, creative control together? What did you learn about collaboration in the process?
Mhm. What
I
did
learned that
go.
I learned it's gonna sound weird to say, but I learned the death of self and self-ego. I think when you have an idea and you want to push it out and you want to make it great, especially as a film or as a documentary, one, you cannot make a good film by yourself. I like you need moving parts. You just need, there's a director, there's a DP, there's a producer, there's editor, there's gaffers, there's ACs. Unless you're a superwoman, I don't think you could do all those things by yourself. And I think when it's like an idea that you've birthed so personally, or like you've birthed together so personally, it could feel like we want to protect it because we know it, because we started the idea. But to make it what it is, you need to invite people in. And if you're inviting people in, you need to create space for them, which means a lot of self has to like be shushed down to make space for people and ideas. And it's just so much more colorful and much more better with other people in it. Like it's with me in it, it's just one color. With Bo in it is another color. But then if we have like five more people, that's a rainbow, and it's just prettier to look at than like one color wall. But it taught me a lot about like just being able to, it's okay to not be good at everything. And I think collaboration teaches you to accept that I can be great at one thing, and I could be not that great at this other thing, but that's okay because someone else is really good at that thing. And now two great skills are being used to create this like one project, which is ultimately way better than one person with one strong strength and like multiple weaknesses. But yeah, that's what I think.
Mhm. I
And
love,
mm,
yeah, I just love how she put it, like the depth of self. I think, yeah, you said it perfectly because that's really what it was. I think even mentioning ego, it is a lot of like letting go
yeah,
of maybe the things that like, oh, I'm used to doing things a certain
right,
way.
right.
But now we're together. So what works best for the project actually? What works best to
Yes.
tell the story and be authentic to the story and hold these women's journeys with care? How can we do that to
Yeah,
the best of our abilities and just accept, like she said, that we were not great at everything. So it's okay to delegate and invite other
yeah.
people in and just trust them also. Really like trust them. So,
Yeah, no, I mean, I appreciate you guys both being so candid and honest here about the process, about being collaborators, because again, it is not easy. It is not, especially when you're so used to working independently in nature and then
mhm,
joining forces and sharing that vision. But like you said, Bo, what is best for the project, right? Like that is like the end goal there. Um, and you mentioned when you first put that idea out there on Threads, you garnered like over 400 responses, which is insane. That's overwhelming. How did you take those responses and then craft it into the fact that okay, the style you want to approach this is this sit down interviews with these women, and then how did you go about finding the women and letting
mhm.
them build that trust with you, like you said, to be open to share your stories because that is also another feat in itself.
Mm. I'll speak on the how we got the women. I think Boy's really great at speaking about how to make them comfortable. I definitely leaned on her, and that's one of the things that the strength parts. Like she's really strong at the emotional and meeting people like where they are. And if you want to create a film where people do open up themselves, you need that safety and security. So I'm gonna let her speak on that. But in terms of like logistics and bringing people together, we heavily relied on our community. And that's another thing. We're very community focused. Like we want to not tell a story outside of itself. Also, we told this story in Mexico. None of us are born there.
I
These are
mean,
different
yeah,
languages we are navigating. I don't speak that much, that great of Spanish, but I speak, people language, like being kind, being nice, and being a good person to work with. But it was definitely, we put out a call to different community members. Like we wanted to make sure we had a group of people who know what they're talking about. So we had a gynecologist there. We had someone was who's like a body instructor, like body pleasure instructor. Like we had different people that we invited. And luckily they said yes because they knew of our work and they were really inspired by the story that we're telling. That's one thing that they kept telling us. So I think we had a good, like powerful prompt and they wanted to be part of it also because for a lot of them they're like, oh, I haven't had chance to reflect on that. That would be really cool to reflect with other people. So that's how we ended up gathering people. We found people who would be great for the project. Ultimately, what is great for the project was our question. What makes sense? Who do we want to invite to speak on this topic? We also are from different parts of the world, so it was really important for us to have like um, a cast with like Mexican women and African American women and African women and like different parts of the world because that's also who we are as collaborators. Something that we've always talked about is we bring, I think between of the two of us, we bring like 7 languages, 6 languages could
oh,
be. Um, and
remarkable. Uh-huh.
that's something we want reflected in our work collaboratively together because we want people from our background to be able to be seen. Yeah, I'll let both speak on the other part.
If you could remind me quickly what was the other part, that would
I
be
think it's
great.
Sorry, go ahead.
the making them feel safe and open.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think making them feel safe was really about, I think throughout the entire process, acknowledging their journeys because we were honestly probably were not asking easy questions. All of them were not the easiest things to answer, and I think to bring back the concept of the depth of self, I think it requires so much introspection from both our ends and
Mm.
just so we could really relate because yes, we're making a documentary, but we really also wanted to see ourselves reflected in this. So we are telling the stories for ourselves also, but really making sure that they feel acknowledged, that we um, have conversations with them before also to make them feel comfortable, I think was very important. And which is what we did. We made sure to have like a conversation with each woman and make sure that like how would they want their stories to be told. You know, we have a limited time and especially production day is like go, go, go. So we don't have much time. So we really wanted to make sure that we show them how they want to be perceived also, but by keeping their authenticity as well. So yeah, just really being present with the questions that we ask and the things that we um, share with them and what they're willing to share with us, and creating a safe space even before production day was really important for us. And so, yeah, the way that we did that was, again, to connect with them before even pulling out the camera in their face, was how we did it.
And
And
oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, that's
I was gonna say it's like the way that you're just speaking about this, the like the level of intentionality and care that and the thought process like that you guys had before, like you said before you then whipped out the camera, tells me that this is just gonna be so impactful and beautiful because that level of care is something that again I feel like a lot of people don't, really truly think about, and the way you guys are approaching this is just amazing. Tell me a
it.
little bit about like on
Can I
set,
just
like what is that process like for when it comes okay, you have the idea, you thought about how you want to execute it. Tell me about the set day for this film. And then after that, the post-production process, because I know now it's currently in post-production. What does that mean?
Set day. Do you want to take it, Bo? Do I?
Yeah, I just wanted to add also another way to make them feel
Yes,
um,
please.
cared was also by um, sorry, I lost my train of thought. But we really wanted to, we had those conversations with them prior, making sure that like if there's emotions that come up, that's okay also. So really reinforcing that. But for set day, so thankfully we had four other people working with us. So Diego, Blanca, Q, and David. So each one of them had a specific role that we organized before. So for set day, we made a schedule prior. We had the people, our references, because we knew it would be very, very. Um, sorry, I'm thinking in French also, but it would be not
So
chaotic.
jealous.
Trust me, it's not all good. Like but yeah, but even when it comes to the language aspect, making sure that they would feel understood, because yes, we were Black women, but it wasn't all Black women. We had women of color, we had, like she said, Mexican women, we had a French person also, and then other Black women. But so two of them, their main languages are Spanish, so making sure that we are asking them the questions in Spanish also, so they can feel more um how can I say, more free to really express their
Yeah.
thoughts without having to think so
Not
much.
have to like stop to then try to answer it and think about it in English or whatever it may be. Yeah.
Exactly. So preparing that in advance in that way, and having somebody who um could, if there was, because I do speak Spanish, but not all the way perfect. So still having somebody who, if there is something, can translate a little bit better for us. We have somebody keeping us on track and telling us like, okay, wrap it up. You've asked enough questions now. Because that was hard when you're getting into the thick of it. And again, I'm very curious and I genuinely want to get to know these women and their journeys and learn from them. So having people to help us out with that, help us with the lighting and the things that that we need to be fast about. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Mm. Sorry, were you gonna say something, Diana?
I think our pre-production was very thorough.
Yeah.
Bo and I met almost 3 times a week before, like for 2 months straight. For us, this is like one of our bigger projects, and just making sure like we know where the direction is going. And we're working with a budget, and we're trying to bring people on board. And we're on studio time, we're on people's time. So when someone walks in, we want to make sure each minute counts, like they know what's going on. A big part that we haven't mentioned is part of the documentary is also like a photo series as well. So we were doing both photos and interviews and directed actions all in like 3 days. So being like we had a tight schedule. We knew we were like, let's start with photos for 45 minutes, and then we're gonna take a break. We set up the lighting, and then we do interviews, and just being able to cross and be nimble with all of the different parts and going to the different modes was, yeah, I think we prepared really well. And hopefully, when you guys see that, you'll see all the work that went into the documentary.
Oh, I'm so excited. And like I mentioned at the beginning, you guys are this year's top grant recipient from the Black Film Photographers and Nikon Grant Fund, where you received, 10,000 in funding. How did that support and partnership shape like what you felt like was possible for this, this documentary? Um, and I know we've touched about it a little bit offline about what you want to see happen, but when you are in this post-production process, how are you guys feeling about like, okay, when it's actually finally out there in the world?
Oh, the I want to say the grant, and this is something we've said over and over. We split it into two. We both needed to kind of re-up on our equipment. Unfortunately, we both had lost our equipment, so I'd lost my camera, and my computer. They were both stolen earlier in the year, and Bose as well. So we were dreamers. Like when we were applying for this grant, it was tough, y'all. We literally put out a note saying, we're actually applying on our phones because we were like on the last minute, like trying to read because
Oh,
we were both like our stuff, my stuff had been stolen, and then both stuff had been stolen earlier in the year too. But we're like, we have to make this story happen. And I pinch myself every time that we're here now because, like who would have thought? So we definitely spent half of that like re-upping our equipment and then half of the other part like actually producing a documentary, hiring people. We did hire people and pay them. We paid for studio time. Like we were like, we don't want anyone to work here for free. We want to make sure that we're covering people's time. Everything went under the budget, and it took some time to figure it out, but we did, and it gave us a lot of practice in like how like films are actually done because you're in a tight budget. But the grant was so helpful in both financing the film and also financing our equipment and also being able to hire local talent. That's one of the things that we were so proud about, like our production assistants
yeah.
and the studio time. Like we were very proud that this is the catering. We're proud that this is like, okay, with this budget that we're having, we are giving back to the community that has served us for 2 years since we've lived here. Um,
Mhm. I think that is so special that again, like this is my first film work that I'm working on. And so I think that the fact that, all of this happened in Mexico, we were thanking even the land, like acknowledging the land and the people
Mm,
for allowing us, giving us the space. So this grant felt like another, like a push, an acknowledgement. It felt like telling us like, yeah, your ideas deserve to be told and the way that you want. So it gave us so much um freedom and recognition and just like it made me feel so acknowledged and to this day, like I think it has allowed us to really okay, yes, be dreamers, but also be able to really execute
yeah.
something that we are proud of, and not just a struggle little production put together, but really having the means to be able to put the quality, more quality into something that we want.
Mhm.
Beautiful.
Oh, I'm just so excited. Looking back, what has the film, the process of it taught you, not just as artists, but as women?
as
Hmm.
women, I will say, because to me, generally, even after each interview, I would listen and honestly take it personally for me because I think as an artist, something that a lot of people don't talk about, it could be like at the beginning you could be struggling. Like at the beginning you're trying to find your footing in every sense of the way. I always say as a creative you kind of have to like fight for your title. It's different from like let's say if you're a lawyer, you went to law school, then you're a lawyer. If you're a filmmaker, what makes you a filmmaker? I think yes, it's making the films, but not everyone gets the chance to like actually make a feature film that will make them a filmmaker. You have to like earn these titles yourself and do it in every way that you can. And I feel like I was at a space where I'm thinking to myself, "Well, have I made it? What does it mean to be like a woman? Should I be somewhere else?" I'm watching my friends going through different stages of life. And you know, in your late 20s, everybody's like doing everything. But then you're always like asking yourself, should I be here? Should I be somewhere else? Like, should I be in this? It's so listening to those interviews told me I'm right where I am and where I need to be, but also everybody is asking these questions. I am not alone. The beauty of like not being alone in something is so big because when you hear someone who is like 60 saying, I'm still figuring out womanhood,
Mm,
so why am I struggling? Like we're all trying to figure it out. So maybe womanhood is what I make of it, you know? Womanhood is what I've decided womanhood is. So to me it was very personal to hear like the stories. And in this process I feel acknowledged as a filmmaker, getting to work with Bo, like how talented she is, like the fact that we can come together and I have
mm,
my I have my skills and she has her skills and we make something. I feel like that's such a stamp of approval to me that you can
mm,
collaborate with filmmakers or photographers who are talented and have a say in it and create something together. Like I'm a filmmaker because I've been able to work with my friends and I've been able to create work that impacts and that matters. And that's the stamp of approval I will give
mm,
myself.
Yes, and and that, it's exactly what Kendra is saying here that I just love her comment here. She's saying it's amazing to see the power of this sisterhood. Maisha, who was our earlier speaker for the Adobe keynote speaker for our summit, she spoke to that during her talk too. I'm praying to manifest some dope Black women artists to collaborate with in 2026. Seems like
mm,
the kismet that y'all just connected in Mexico to dream and execute together, and it truly is. It's just so beautiful. I'm like, if you're, I feel like everything happens for a reason, and it was bound to happen eventually. But if your friends, did not connect you to, then we wouldn't be having this incredible project put out. Imagine. You ever guys ever stop and think about that?
We need to take him to dinner. If we keep saying that.
yeah. This comment just gave me chill because thank you so much, Kendra. You said it was. Thank you so much because yes, and I think that it is a big part. Like I think sisterhood is a big part of the things that are keeping us sane, and in the ways that like community keeps coming to uplift us and support us. So being able to give back to it in a certain way and just to nurture that, beautiful. And again, I'm just so thankful that we get to do the things that we get to do in the ways that we want to also.
Right. Right. And you touched on like the fact that the importance of having the quality of the work versus like quantity. How do you each sustain your creativity and protect your artistic voice in a world that often demands output over depth? I know that's a hard one.
I'm not. I'm just like the English is not fully processed right now.
No, I mean, please say it in French and then translate it for me. Oh my
Yes,
goodness, I
girl.
would love that.
Oui, je parle en français.
You
But
know, oh, sorry, I was gonna say it's so funny because it's like, well, it's not funny, it's so sad, but I just have to laugh or else I'll cry because so coming to the States, like I said, I was born in Kenya. We came to the States when I was very young, a toddler, and I grew up in Kansas, and I was mixing English, Swahili, Kikuyu, and baby gibberish and who knows what else that only my mom and my sister could understand what I was saying. Like literally, like, and I had to take speech classes, ESL classes up until
Wow.
elementary schools for several years. Just because language was so hard for me to grasp. And it's like, and then I got to college. No, sorry, I got to high school and I was studying because in my high school we had to study language, and so I started studying French. And I just loved like how it sounded. It was so easy for me to connect. I was speaking it so well that I felt so mad at myself that I knew more French than my own native language. And so then I stopped taking French in high school. When I went to college, I stopped taking it because I had to continue a language. I stopped taking French because I was like, I can't know more French than Swahili. So in college, I started taking Swahili, and now I don't know either. So now I
Oh,
don't know either fluently. So one day I
It's
will be
okay.
able
We're
to
here to
speak another
practice.
language fluently.
We
I hope
we
it's
got you.
Swahili, in due time, because 'cause I'm just also so impressed that between the both of you guys, you speak 7 languages. I think that's just incredible and beautiful. But sorry for that that tangent, but, please share, like, whatever feels most comfortable to you. If you need to think about it and say it in French first, totally fine, and then just translate for me, because I don't
what?
I
What
can
do
say
you
"Merci comme ça," I can say "Je m'appelle Polly,"
We
ça
say?
va,
will.
and that's about it.
C'est ça, bon, bravo. But I'm just trying to understand, what do you mean by output?
You
What?
know, like what you were saying about just like the fact that, the age, the digital age we're in, the fact that, you scroll on social media, you see people posting their work often. And I feel like sometimes there's that pressure to always be creating and just putting it out there, right? And not just
Mhm.
taking a second to sit with it or just care more about the quality versus the quantity of what you're outputting, right? I mean, you guys have been working on this documentary for some time now, for months. Like you said, you were meeting like 3 times a week for 2 months just to,
Mhm.
like, get the process, just to, like, get that process down and to think about the logistics. You weren't rushing that, right? Because you knew that when you need to then execute for those 3 days, because you only had those 3 days, you were ready and you handled that with care. So that's what I mean by it.
Okay. I think that, like, yeah, because when we created it, we were also, okay, before we were neighbors, but we were also roommates after that. So being in the house and kind of like letting our ideas exist in the house, I think helped not rush it too much. For example, I have ADD and it's hard for me to focus and just sit down and stuff. So we started like pasting things on the wall to be able to visualize it better when we were having our meetings, and just trying to, okay, like let's say Diana had a shot in mind. Let's try to act it out and see what it's like, instead of just like produce for that. But I think for me, also, what helps me is that I started photography with film photography. So I actually shoot a lot film. And I think that also informs my practice as a photographer. So my practice is not just to like shoot 1,000 times, it's to take my time and just figure out, okay, what is the moment, what am I trying to document or capture, and then after that, once it's done, once I'm done being in the moment and taking those film photos and etc., then going in the dark room and taking the time to develop a photo and watching it come to life literally in front of my eyes. I think that yeah, I think that informs why I'm not just output. I'm a slower
I
type of
love
photographer.
that. Not slower, I think it's not slower, I think it's just more intentional.
Yeah.
I love that. And what about you, Diana?
My logical brain was thinking, when you have funding, it helps you like relax a little bit because you're like, I have all the resources I need to create slowly. So shout out to Black women photographers because I think with the funding and being able to be like, okay, maybe this could help us slow down and make us just focus specifically on creating because we've covered like our expenses this way. I think it does give you a little bit of freedom and like you could relax a little bit and create intentionally. But also I think creativity is a practice and it's not just like a one-on practice, it's a
Mhm.
lifetime practice. And you know, you need to still like live, you need to still visit friends, you need to still like do work if you work and all of that. So just finding times within our day, like an hour today to come back and talk about something with regards to the project, because if we sit on it, tomorrow we'll have another idea. I feel like our project like required of us to like grow with it. So what we came in the beginning is not what came out. Like it evolved and it developed into the different practices that we explored. I think it wasn't just for like asking people to think about girlhood to womanhood. We're asking people to think about a journey. And a journey is a journey that takes a couple of days. And for us, it took a couple of like days and even months to figure out what do we actually want to ask people, because like Bo said, we weren't asking people easy questions, and they were like deep reflected questions that only came because we were slow with it. So I would say to me it's the out of the practice, like living and breathing creativity and doing it like daily just makes my work more slower and intentional. And also just having access to resources that allows you to like slow down and solely focus on one shot for like 4 days because you can. Um, yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
no, I think that is just so important. I love what you both shared there. You know, for the emerging, photographers, filmmakers, especially the Black or and African women photographers and filmmakers listening today or will listen to this later, what is one piece of advice you'd give them about finding your voice and trusting that process, or even just even navigating collaboration?
Hmm. When it comes to finding your voice, I think, and I'm saying that as an emerging artist who is still, like sharpening it. But I think just if we're keeping that metaphor, just speaking up and trying to see, like, is your voice shaking when you are saying these things? Is this what you want to say? If it didn't feel right, like it's okay. It's okay, like at the end of the day, yes, as important as the work that we make is, we are also not like in an emergency room at the hospital. So it's okay to mess up also. So just trying things out, speaking up, trying things, being okay with messing up also,
Yeah.
which is, yeah, just I think this was the best part of actually collaborating, the fact that we both gave each other space to like try those different hats and also mess up, like and try again and figure out another solution if this isn't working. So, yeah, I would say to find your voice, just speak up more and more, and you will get there. You will get to know what sounds right,
Mm.
be more in tune.
Oh, I love that.
Good.
Diana, I'm sorry you have to go next.
I'm like, how do I top that? Um, I think mine is actually pretty similar. Take up space, like take up digital space. Like make something and put it on Instagram. Like and have your and search yourself up as, this person, and then search yourself up and see your name and see the picture you took or the video you took and post it on YouTube and search your name up. I think we fear being seen, and that limits us from like being seen trying. Like we fear being seen trying. I still fear being seen trying. I'm trying to learn how to ride a bike. And for the life of me, I cannot. People tell me to get the four-wheeler, but I'm like, no, but people will see me with the four wheels. And they're like, yeah, but you're learning.
Oh,
It's been
adorable.
I know it's been a running joke for me so far, but I think, like take the photo, take the video, put it out and look at that, look at it when it's outside. And the more you get used to that feeling of seeing your name and your image and you trying, I think it motivates you to, because when we see other people's work and we want to be like them, it's because we're perceiving them like on this media outlets. But why can't it be
Mm,
you? Why can't you be seeing your work on Instagram? However, quote unquote
right.
shitty it is, you know? And we all start from somewhere, is something I remind myself. I like reading memoirs from like famous people, like from back in the day. I want to know like how did they really start? Like that one song that launched their career, or
Yeah.
like the songs that they sang way before that one big song. I want to listen to that. And then you realize, oh, wait, I could have written that, but you didn't, you know? But so I think identify like the thing that you want to do and keep doing it and taking up space. And it's okay to fail, like Bo said. It's honestly okay. You are not gonna die by posting a bad photo. And I'm talking to myself as well as someone who's like coming up in the industry.
No, I really think you guys are just so spot on here because I don't know when this shift actually occurred when it comes to social media, particularly Instagram, when people, myself included, took it too seriously. Like, I remember when I first got on Instagram, I was just posting anything and everything. I loved that. It was just so fun. It was just like, okay, this is how I viewed the world today. And it wasn't perfect. It was just whatever I was looking and just capturing. And I would post it without worrying about likes or whatever and things of that nature. And then I don't know when this shift occurred where everything just had to be so heavily curated, right? That you feel like, oh my God, does this fit within the aesthetics of the grid or whatever?
Like life is not that serious, is what
It
people
is
are saying.
not, and now it really is not. And now I'm going back to that framework of, okay, it is truly not that serious. And so whenever I do post, I mean, I might post like months after the fact, because for me, it really is not that serious. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Um, and I want to ask, speaking of just like, finding your voice, like just in general, but how do you find your voice within your artistic approach? I think like, Bo, your style is just very distinct. The way you edit, the way you color grade, like, I mean, I just love the way you use color and light and contracts and shadows. And Diana with your films, there's just such a homeness to them. So tell me more about how you find your voice artistically.
Mm. You want to go, Diana?
I think one is one of the things I've done is take a stock of the things that make me feel happy as a filmmaker. And like I said, I've been really inspired with shows that feature Black women. So one of my goals in life is to create a television show. And a lot of the things that I do are to get to that goal. So I like to, for example, do little scenes of like Black women on screen doing different things, like maybe going to a dance studio or like doing hair. Because eventually for me, I want to be able to have a show featuring like women doing daily things. So I
Mhm.
think one, understanding like the things that fuel you, because that could show you like what you want to make, but also like when you watch your stuff, I do encourage like when you create something, keep watching it and ask yourself, what does this evoke for me? And to me, I want to feel like I'm watching friends on the screen, like I'm watching people who look like me on the screen doing regular things, going through like life stuff. Um, yeah, I want to feel like I say it to myself every day. I want to make something that's going to be someone's favorite thing to watch. Like when they come back from home, they're like, I'm so tired. I want to dissociate. What world do I want to get into? The one that Diana created. So everything that I'm creating is to that. That's the voice I'm trying to follow. That's like, if I could call it my North Star. And it could change, but find something that you want to do. And to do that, look at the things you've consumed, things that bring you life. Like, what's that one big thing that you want to create? And maybe from that, work backwards and create things that lead to that.
Mm.
Oh, that is so beautiful. And I have a feeling that this documentary will be one of those things that will be somebody's favorite thing, truly.
Thank you
Wow.
for saying that. Yeah, thank
I
you.
I do. I cannot wait until it's out there in the world. Um, I wanna do, like, a little fun lightning round, just, like, a few minute lightning round. Is that cool? Can we do that?
Yeah,
Yes.
let's do it.
Okay. So, you'll have to try and answer these questions within a sentence or two, but of course, I mean, I'm not gonna cut you off, so answer it however you feel. But what's a film or photo that changed the way you see the world, Diana?
Ooh, past lives. And it's because of this one line. So, well, oh, that's two sentences. I'm sorry. Past
No,
lives.
go ahead, go. No, no, say it, please.
I
I
was
want
gonna
to
say the
try.
one line that changed it for me. The two characters, it's an intercultural, inter like they're from different countries, so different
Okay.
cultures. And one of the saddest things was the guy felt like he couldn't really understand the girl. And this is the line that he said. He was like, well, it's because when you dream in your language, and you dream in a language that I cannot understand. And I was just like,
Hmm.
as someone who speaks different languages, meets people who speak different languages, like it really is like, when you cannot
Hmm.
joke with your person in the language,
Yeah.
your native language, that's such a heartbreak emotion that I didn't know could be captured, but that director captured it. So yeah, Past Lives is the film for me that changed
I'm
it all.
gonna have I'm gonna have to watch that film. I haven't seen that. Bo, the same thing for you. What's a film or photo that's changed the way you see the world?
Hmm. Can I say a book?
Yes, yes, a book too, please.
I think a book would be Entre chiens et loups, amongst dogs and wolves. It's a book that is about racism, but it flips the whole thing, and it's like the world is inverted, and it's kind of like um, the rich people are fair skinned and all of that, and just like the way that this book was narrated kind of opened up to me that like, oh, we get to reimagine things, like if you want to empower yourself, you can
Mm.
decide to imagine yourself and empower yourself like this. So this book really showed me that everything doesn't need to be as it seems. So yeah, the way, more than the
Yeah.
story, the way that this idea was brought up, I think really gave me permission to imagine things for my own and not just take what is written. So
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. Um, for you, Diana, what is one word that describes your creative season right now?
you're muted, girl.
I'm sorry.
I'm out here saying like I dropped a bar. Wow, girls need to hear that. Thank you. Um, that was funny. I said simmering, like if food is simmering, I feel like that's my creative.
Ooh, okay, bar, mic drop. I got you, girl.
You got it? Okay, okay.
And for you, Bo?
For me, a word that would describe my season right now would be, that's a hard one. I think just expanding,
Mm.
like just expanding more on the things that I value when it comes to the themes I want to speak more in my art. Like I am really into concert photography, um, more editorial style also, and documentary. So
Mm.
just like expanding on the things, on the ideas that are calling me. So for example, I kind of took a break, but I had this exhibition about um, a project that is because I'm Haitian, it's about religion, so about voodoo and racism, and it kind of juxtaposes both of them together. So just expanding more on ideas like that of spirituality and my visuals, expanding more on the concert photography that I want to do more of, and about the editorial photography. So, and expanding in terms of just apply to more things because there are amazing people who will see you and make you feel seen. So, yeah.
Oh, yes, yes. Apply, apply, apply. And again, y'all, for those who may have seen our Black Women Photographers and Icon grant application go up before, and you did not apply, I really, really hope listening to Bo and Diana speak to the beautiful work they're about to produce. I mean, not about to produce, are producing, with this funding, that you do feel the encouragement to apply to get whatever story told, but not even just stories. We don't just support projects; we also do business grants, because we truly believe there's so much that goes into being a creative. As a creative, you are a business owner. And we also just help with business expenses, whatever it may be, from a website to whatever. So please apply these, resources, whether it's ours or other resources that are there for a reason for you to apply to, for hopefully your story or whatever, is being told, because I just think it's so remarkable what you guys are doing with these women's stories. I'm just so excited for it. Are you able to tell us when it's going to come out? When do you expect to release it?
We're, I don't know, it has next year. Next year is a safe bet to say.
Okay. Okay.
Next
Next
year.
year. Okay. That means you guys just have to keep following them and
Yeah.
staying tuned, because I'm just so excited for this. What is a story or subject you are both, yearning to tell, that you are still wanting to tell, that you haven't told yet?
I think I kind of mentioned um, exploring spirituality, the visuality of it, the visuals of it also, and kind of seeing how we all relate. And I'm still trying to think of the best way to do this, if it should be more something more creative or more documentary style. But this is a theme that is very important in my life and that I want to keep on expanding on. And I also want to speak of stories because, like, again, I'm new to this nomadic life and living outside of my home place. I do want to explore more stories of um, diaspora, of Blackness, of movements, like migration and stuff. So yeah, I want to show more of, document more that we are here as Black people, we are here, and here is everywhere. And we are here being joyful also, and we're here living our lives. So I want to document more of that and concert photography. So, yeah.
I love that. And you, Diana?
I mentioned a TV show. You know how every once in a while there's like a
Yeah.
TV show that defines like a people. So
Oh,
I
and
really
sorry, I was gonna say, was Insecure one for you?
yes, Insecure, Girlfriends,
Yeah.
Moesha, like I want to create something like that, but I think it's really cool as someone who's traveled around. What would it look like if you had like four women? One is like a Kenyan woman, one is an African American woman, one's like a Caribbean woman from Montreal, like, and then they're all in one city and we're navigating like different cultures, different forms of Blackness, maybe even like bureaucracy of like immigration and paperwork, things like that. I feel like we have become so global. So having like a show rooted in like a slice of life format where we see these people navigating this day-to-day things, because that's become my life and that's the life I
Yeah.
see out here with women who are traveling nomadically. So like that would be really cool to see on screen. Yeah.
Um, can you cast me for the Kenyan women
Yes.
who grew up in America?
I see you have the bracelet. So
I'm
yes, definitely.
ready.
Let's get you
Like, look,
talking on
can I
that.
be an extra? Can I just do like a little cameo, like, please? Like,
It's gonna happen. I think it's gonna be such a beautiful display of like the way Blackness is in all shapes of
yeah.
form and it's gonna be beautiful. So yeah, that's something I really want to tell in my lifetime.
I can absolutely see you both doing all the things. But were you about to say something?
No, but just to
Yeah.
add on, what
Yeah.
she's trying to create, I think it's really cool that having the perspective that we have,
Mhm.
just because even having been in Mexico, well, I'm Canadian, so I can't speak too much on it, but whatever was happening in the States politically and being on the
Mhm.
other side of this and seeing like the people who are getting deported, what are their
Mm,
stories, and how are they
mm,
navigating this, and how is Diana navigating
mm.
moving around so much, being African, and just yeah. So I think it will be a very rich
Mhm.
story, whichever we decide to tell.
Yeah, and I mean, I hope you tell all the stories, but, I mean, we didn't really touch on it too much about, like you said, about how you guys are just moving everywhere and living this nomad lifestyle. Um, I can't even imagine how hard it is to be away from home, from family. I mean, Diana, you were saying, like, what you would consider home just, like, because your family is in Japan, is that what you said?
No, I said if they decided to, I would
Oh,
move
okay, okay, if they
there.
decided, okay, okay.
Home is where
I
family
I
is.
was like, "Wait, what?" Like, did I hear that correctly? Okay. I know I didn't even really touch on that, but, like, for you guys then, because it is such a hard thing, I just think there's also so many misconceptions, and it often gets glamorized, right? The nomad style gets glamorized, but, like, how are you guys navigating in that? And how are you guys just, refilling your own cups? You just did this huge production, and we're now winding down at the end of the year. How are you staying nourished yourselves and taking care of yourselves as we wind down this year?
Hmm.
Mm.
Okay, so how to navigate the nomadic life? I think, well, for me, when it comes to home, if I was to answer this question, I think home for me is fragments of things and people, like, so it's not really a place anymore. And I'm trying to make it my body also as my home and everything. But I think home is the couches that I've sat on and shared very intimate stories on the tables that we've gathered friends around and had like amazing dinners with, and like all those conversations that we've had that we got to share with people in our dreams and stuff. So I think home for me is where those things reside. So yeah, but how to navigate it? So I think I carry it with me, and I don't know, it's kind of like a constant grief also of just like, okay, well, like now it's there, like it's not really, yeah, there's some things I can't carry with me. And so there is grief in that, but there is also the joy of, okay, I can create more. So now how I'm feeling,
Yeah.
yeah, so how I'm filling back up my cup, I think is really finding moments to rest, finding moments to get inspired. For me, it's really important. Just like Diana was mentioning earlier, living
Yeah.
your life is important for your creativity. So I think that's where I'm at, and just trying to organize a bit to plan like, okay, what is the strategy for 2026 really?
And you, Diana?
I think navigating my nomad life has been a journey, but if I would like speak on it, I one of my core values is imagination and the power of like seeing yourself in spaces that you never have. And I think traveling and being a nomad is that for me as a Black woman and living in these different countries. I want to live a life where I could sit at the end of it, I could be like, I imagined myself in so many different places and I did it. So
Mhm.
it's difficult. I think like any other lifestyle, it's difficult. But I think I really like I imagine myself in different places, and so far it's come to happen. And so that fuels me like, oh, so if I think of myself in this other country, I can make it happen because I'm here now in a different country that's not where I was born. So I think it's a lot of like imagination and executing when you're scared and doing it anyways. And then, applying for things like this that make creating stuff that you want possible.
Mm.
How am I refueling? I'm with family currently. So I like just like existing with my sisters and, like eating Kenyan food, uh, and just like really going back to my home roots. I watch a lot of telenovelas to remind me of when I was younger. I do watch a lot of TV shows as someone who wants to create one, but also just, I let myself linger in other worlds of people that people have created. And, I might pick up an idea, I might pick up, I don't know, a storyline, but yeah, resting is a big part. I didn't realize how, when you make such a big project, like mentally you are exhausted until I was
Yes.
like, whoa, I'm in a funk and I need to rest because of that. So, yeah.
And I'm
Mm.
so glad you're giving yourself, that permission to rest and not think about rushing to the next thing. Truly, like it's okay to rest. There's a season for everything, and rest is also a season as well. I love this comment here from Beatrice. I'm very excited about seeing the film, and thanks to the speakers, I'm very excited about my future of my own journey. Such a great summit. I learned so much and have come away very inspired. And I mean, me too. Me too. As I was telling you guys before we even started the conversation, like I'm gonna go and revisit this conversation, just like listen and just like I just think you guys are both just so profound in your answers and just such a beautiful journey. And even though I know you guys both said you're emerging, I know whatever you guys are dreaming, your dreams and the way you are ability to just like sit with those dreams, but also then not just sit with them, but find a way to execute them and make them happen despite everything that was going on in your personal lives, despite having your camera, your equipment, your laptops, all the things
Girl.
stolen over you. Like, despite all that, you both found a way to make this idea and bring it to life. And I think that just speaks volumes about just the who you are as individuals, who you are together as collaborators, and what other things you guys will be executing together or independently in the future. And please, Diana Boat, I want to be casted.
Yes.
Well,
Want to be an extra. I just want to be on set once in my life. And it would be so beautiful and special if it's from one of your guys' projects. So, I mean, truly, thank you both for such an inspiring and nourishing conversation. Anything you want to share with us before we go?
Um, just I don't know, just to add to what Diana was saying before, also, I think her strength is also manifestation. Like really, she taught me so much about this, but really like picture yourself in the environment that you want to. And it's possible. Like really, you just have to believe without letting doubt in. And don't be scared to dream bigger, like the fact that she sees such great and big things for her life, it's like, okay, I have to see big things for mine also, because by association, I cannot doubt. So I think it's very important to just manifest the things that you want and put the actions behind it, but really picture yourself, see yourself into it, even if it's using AI to see what it could look like living where you want to live or whatnot. But yeah, so again, I just want to add also thank you so much, Polly, because you are an amazing creative yourself and such a, yeah, very, very, very inspiring business person and creative and photographer and the things you have done. So being hyped up by you, I'm just like, oh, what is
thank
this real?
you.
So thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for having us. Thanks for having this conference. And I know like the past 2 days has been you having conversations on our behalf back to back. So
Mhm.
we see you and we're grateful. Thank you for having this space and acknowledging us. I feel like what you're doing with the organization and the grants and empowering us, like I will never forget that I was able to do this because of you.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're changing lives, you're changing careers, you're making us imagine ourselves in places we never thought we would be. So thank you for being that for us and all the other people to come.
Oh, stop! That is just that. I mean, truly, like there's no greater compliment. Truly, honestly, and I think each of you are just like I said, so inspiring, so incredible, and I cannot wait until like I see okay Diana's future project being released, and I see that like article that's being dropped on the Hollywood Reporter.
Yes,
Diana's like
yes.
that
Yep.
because the Hollywood Reporter, they're always the ones like Deadline and Hollywood
Deadline.
Reporter. They're the
Yeah,
only ones
speaking
who are like
into
announcing
existence.
like the future projects like Issa Race next. Da, 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 da.
Yes, amen.
Yes, I cannot wait and vote for the same thing for you too. I'm just, I'm so excited, and I'll be like, I'll come back to this moment. I'm like, y'all, that one time 5 years ago I interviewed you. Okay, so hi, I'm Polly. Cast me your next project. No, but truly, I'm just so grateful for your guys' perspectives and what you are bringing to this industry. And that's why, we hold space, like you said, for these different voices, for these different conversations being had. I mean, this summit has just been truly incredible. And I couldn't think of a better way to end it, the speaking portion, truly with you two. I couldn't think of a better way to end it, honestly. I am just so incredibly inspired. Like you said, I've been yapping all day today, like since 8 a.m. I've been yapping with just amazing, amazing artists. And this was such a beautiful way to just end the speaking portion at the summit. So thank you guys. Thank you for making time for this. Thank you again for the work that you're doing to just push this industry forward and start these conversations in different communities and making space for others. I'm so excited for you two. And thank you everyone for attending and tuning in. This was just such a beautiful conversation with Bo and Diana. And if you missed any part of it, don't worry. This was being recorded as all of our other sessions today and yesterday were being recorded as well as part of the 2025 Black Women Photographers Summit, powered by Adobe and Lightroom. You guys are amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we will see you all next year at the film release.
Yes.
Yes.
Amazing. Thank you guys. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.